So, did you come here to work today?
I did. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Ask yourself, did I come here to work today? I don't know about you, but I always felt like the stuff that we do on Sunday morning ought to feel a little bit more like a gym, like a dojo, like a classroom. There are some people who go to church or to temple or to whatever you want to call it, with the idea that they're supposed to go so that they can hold still. You know what I mean? There are some people who take church like a pill. Say, oh, I can go to this place and I can just sit perfectly still and just be validated in all of my current ideas. There are people that go to church and that church tells them, you know what, it's just great. You can just keep on hating the people that you hate right now. Isn't that wonderful? You know what I mean? That is a valid belief system, but it is not our belief system. We come here to work. I didn't say toil. I didn't say labor. I didn't say something hard, something painful. I'm talking about work that you know so well when you do something beautiful and it comes from your heart. And at the end of the process, there's something that was made, something that was changed, something that happened. And boys and girls, that takes work. And that's good. There is a precedent for that. Ask yourself, do I come to this church, to this relationship, to this job, to this whatever it is? Do I come to be validated or do I come to be challenged? Unity people are working people. And you know that because you show up, you're not here for more than 5 minutes before somebody hands you a book. Read this. Do this. Have you heard of our classes? Let me tell you about our volunteer programs. We got stuff for you to do, and there's a precedent for that, isn't there? I mean, in Scripture, it's throughout Scripture. My Father worketh, and I work. Over and over again. Faith without works is dead. You got to do something. And that's not just in the Judeo-Christian Scripture. It's everywhere. It's the Bodhisattva vow, isn't it? It doesn't mean anything until you do something about it. You know what I mean? Over and over again, we learn about that wonderful hero's journey, that universal myth, that story that everyone's hearts are telling. And if you know that story, you know that the hero's journey doesn't mean anything until the hero comes back and gives back. We are working people, and that's beautiful. But I want to tell you something. Work isn't all there is to you. Do you know that? Do you know it? Do you really know it? Because sometimes people come to me with all kinds of concerns and spiritual requests and stuff like that, and I got to tell you, a lot of the time, the answer that we come up with together is this answer. Are you ready? It goes like this. You are not your achievements. I need you to hear that. You are not your achievements. People sometimes identify with the stuff they do. They say, my name is Joe Blow and I'm a plumber, let's say. Well, I have been very grateful for plumbers at many times in my life. I'm a parent. However, that's not all there is to that person, is it? If you identify with what you do, what happens when you don't do it? What happens if you retire or win the lottery or get laid off? Uh-oh. Maybe there's more to us than what we do. It's beautiful to do, but that's not all there is to you. This is important to know because we've all met people. Maybe we've been people. I have been this person, don't recommend it, who just have to fill every moment of their day, every moment with something, because I'm not worth anything unless I'm doing something. I'm not worth anything unless I can rattle off a prodigious to-do list. Let me be clear, a full to-do list is not the same thing as a full life. There is something else that has to happen, right? But some people don't know that, and they just look like they're just fighting bees through life, and they're just filling every moment with stuff. What stuff? I don't know, couldn't tell you. They couldn't tell you. Doesn't matter. Just as long as it's full of stuff, then I did it right? Spiritually, it's almost like those kind of people are trying to conjure God. If I can just do the right things, I can just get God to show up in my life. I can just do something, say the magic words, go to the right class, and God will show up in my life. Well, guess what? God already here. here before you, waiting on you. Can't make God show up. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said that some people are like fish in the ocean swimming around going, where's the water? I love that. And I identify with that. I've been there sometimes. Trying to make something happen that has already happened will only make you tired. And by the way, that's a good test. Look at the things that you do in your life. The relationships you're in, the job you work, the church you go to, whatever it is, and ask yourself this question: does it inspire or does it tire? Does it inspire or does it tire? Because we've got stuff that we do in our lives that fills us up. We lose track of time. It works. We're in the zone. And we got stuff that wears us out. If your life wears you out, ask yourself this question. You ready? Does God get tired? Does God wear out? Does spirit run out? Is there such a thing as limitation in the spiritual realm? If God doesn't get tired, but I get tired, maybe I'm given from the wrong place. This is a big deal. You want to be a prosperity master? Here's part of it. You ready? You are not the source of good in your life. It comes from somewhere else. What I want is not to be the source. What I want is to not make God happen. I don't want that. I want to be a connection. I want to connect to something bigger than me. That's the beginning. This means yes. That's the beginning. You're not the source. And you ready for the other part? You're also not the destination. This is a big deal. And I say that because there are some people who, spiritually speaking, are very destination-oriented. Do you know what I mean? They say, if I do the right stuff, I can get to some place and then I can stop. And that feels like the goal. And for those kind of people, they go to church and they feel like if I just know the right things, and eventually, if I'm happy enough, lucky enough, if I suffer enough, I get to go to heaven and then I don't have to do anything anymore. I can just stop. That doesn't sound like heaven. That sounds like the other place to me. But I get bored easy. You know what I mean? Sometimes people look at me as a minister and they think that my job is to pronounce some kind of magic words, meka leka hai, meka haini ho, mama say, mama sa, mama kusa, and then safe. And I'm here to tell you, it don't work like that. Life goes on. There is no end to this stuff. What part of you, your biology, your physiology, your psychology, your spirituality, what part of you is ever stopping? There's no such thing. So why would we shoot for that? It's silly. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. And so do you. So let's be the kind of people who are not interested in finding a destination and who are not interested in being the destination. And I say that because there's a lot of people who read like halfway through The Secret. I'm not looking at anybody, I'm looking down. There are a lot of people that read halfway through The Secret and they got to that cool part where it says, you can make stuff happen. And they said, oh good, I'm done. I can close the book now. I'm going to go make stuff. And the end-all be-all of my spiritual experience is manifestation. And you know those people. And you know what? This stuff works. But it's not the end of the story. And to those people who are really just locked into that idea that I'm supposed to make stuff happen, that I'm supposed to manifest things, that I'm supposed to experience that and then I'm done, to those people I want to say, wait, first of all, bring it in, let's give a hug, and then let me tell you, do you really think that all of the beauty that there is in the universe, all of the majesty, all of the wisdom, and all of the power that makes the world go round, the love that fills every moment, this whole big thing that we're just sort of seeing just a little bit of, do you mean to tell me that the end-all, be-all of all of that is so that you can get a new Buick? Come on. Boys and girls, let's think bigger. Are you ready for Unity 101 time? I'm going to give you something that means a lot to me. It goes like this. You ready? The idea is not to get the thing. The thing is to get the idea. I'm going to say that again because it means something. The idea is not to get the thing is to get the idea. Say it with me. The idea is not to get the thing is to get the idea. That's what we want. You can get wrapped up in things and it won't get you anywhere. You know just as well as I do that there is a disconnect between riches and happiness, between stuff and happiness. And you know that because you know people who got a lot of stuff ain't happy. And you know people who don't have anything that have a sense of happiness. It doesn't mean that stuff is bad. Toys are fun. It just means they can't make you happy or sad or any other way. Let me put that another way. You can be miserable in a private jet. So what we want is something different. What we want isn't stuff at all, but a connection. You're not the source of your good, and you're not the destination. That's not what we ever wanted, really. If you ask people what they want, and you really listen, sometimes people start with the Robin Leach MTV Cribs, depending on how old you are. Definition. If you ask people what they want, sometimes they say, I want the big car, I want the stuff, I want the mansion, I want the whatever it is. But let us be as little children and say, why? Why do you want that thing you think you want? Well, because of this, that, and the other. Why? Well, because it's... Why? And if you ask people why enough, a lot of times they will come up with the same answer. And the answer is, I want that whatever it is because then I won't have to worry anymore. You know what I mean? I want that security. I want that riches. I want that number in my bank account. I want that, I don't know, self-esteem. So I won't have to worry anymore. But like I said, there's a disconnect between stuff and happiness. And you can live in that disconnect and try to fill that hole, but it doesn't work that way. So let me give you a different idea. You ready? You can stop worrying for free. In fact, it's the only way it's going to work. Do you really think you're going to stop worrying if you have a couple more zeros going on? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Try it and see. And then remember that First Unity is open to all kinds of donations. Try it and see. You know that it doesn't work that way, right? Don't be a numbers person just for a moment. People think if I just had the right amount, I could get to that place of enough. Well, what's your enough? Is it $1 million? Because once you get to $1 million, if you're stuck on the number, you're going to go, wait a minute, numbers go on forever. There's such a thing as $2 million. And so on. And so on. And so on. How far does it go? The gospel of Han Solo is the gospel of never tell me the odds. This is a spiritual truth. Because the number doesn't matter. Your reassurance comes from a different place. Not from a place of numbers, but from a place of trust. So how can you get to that place of trust? What does it take for you to get to that place of trust? What people really want is not a number, but rather enough. Give us this day our daily bread. I didn't write that one. Do you want a big stack of rectangles of paper? Or do you want enough? So ask yourself, where does my enough come from? Does it come from some job? Does it come from the approval of other people? Does it come from this thing I do? Ooh, that's dangerous. Let us get to this place where our enough comes from someplace deeper. The secret of prosperity is being able to say, I am enough. I am enough. One more time. I am enough. Not the ego of me, the personality of me, the stuff of me, but rather that I am, that divine spark in me that flows through me. I am enough. And I don't know how it's going to work, but the good news is that ain't my job. Did you know that? Part of this enterprise has to do with letting go. The details are not your job. All you got to do is find the idea and follow it where it leads. You've got the idea. You know that, right? You've got the idea. It might be that you've got this calling that I've got to get the attention of this one person. Well, you might not get that one person. But remember, the thing is to get the idea. What you really want is love. Don't worry about the numbers. When you go looking at a car, you know there's that sticker on the side of the car that says horsepower and it's got a number on it. Miles per gallon or whatever, it's got a number on it. When you go look at a Rolls Royce, the nicest car, you know what it says next to horsepower? Sufficient. And if you go look at the turbo, it says more than sufficient. So let us, if we're going to use Rolls-Royce thinking, be the kind of people who are unattached to the outcome. You've got enough because you are enough. You've got the idea for love and freedom. Learn how to follow it where it wants to take you. Because the details are God's job. Did you know that? The details are God's job. You've got the idea. That's the hardest part. So many people spend their lives just looking for a good idea. You've already got that. You're done. Let us transform our expectation, because some people think that spirituality is throwing ideas up to God or out into the world or whatever, depending on where you went to Sunday school. But think about that with me for just a moment. If God is everywhere, where are you sending your good vibes? He's already here. Think about that with me. If God is everywhere, this stuff, this prosperity stuff, this spiritual mastery stuff is not about sending a message anywhere. You've got the idea, and here's what I want you to know. The idea is the manifestation. In the same way that steam is water, is ice. It's the same stuff. All you got to do is let it be what it needs to be. You've got it. Now, you could have gone home all the time, Dorothy. It's the universal story, man. You've already got this stuff. Let it go. My favorite word for prosperity is this word, affluence. Are you affluent? Do you know what the word means? It comes from the same root as fluid. It doesn't mean I am a hoarder of things. It means I am a steward of the flow. That is what it means to be a prosperity master. I am affluent. There's that great Anthony Quinn quote in Lawrence of Arabia where he says, I am a river to my people. Don't you love that? In Lessons in Truth, Dr. Katie says, you're like a fountain. A fountain knows that they're not where the water comes from. It comes from somewhere else. You're not the source. But a fountain also knows that if they're going to be a fountain, if people are going to see the beauty and play in that water, the fountain's got to let the water go. Otherwise, you're not much of a fountain. You're a sculpture. So what can you let go of? What can you radiate today? How can you show the world that you've got living water inside you that did not come from you? What can you do today to show? Because that's the secret. When you know something, you don't own it intellectually. When you know something, you are moved by it. You know what I mean? Let us be the kind of people who are hungry for an idea that's so powerful that it becomes a feeling that's so profound that it becomes an action. They call it falling in love because you can't help but move. And so, here we go. Here's the secret. You want to be a master of this life stuff? It's not hard. All you got to do is let yourself be moved. Find things that move you. Be a connoisseur of it. Go to the art museum and find art that moves you to tears. Listen to music that's so good you're moved to move your butt. Find something that moves you because you get out of the way. It didn't come from you, and it doesn't end with you. So set all of that free. We got stuff to do. And after all, freedom is a choice. Thank you very much.